All right, so hello, my friends. I'm Nicholas W. Fuller. Here's our discussion of Diablo 3 Act 3. We just finished playing Act 3 and we thought we'd jump right into the discussion. So, yeah, I think a whole lot better than Act 2, right?
Oh yeah, I think so. I mean, Act Two just felt like a fetch quest after a fetch quest after another fetch quest, with no real sense of like
Purpose.
purpose or why it mattered too much, and it just felt like we were bouncing from one group to another. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I also, I mean, the way they delivered the story, there was a fair bit of it that's just in the books and the voiceovers, which was kind of lame. You do get the prince popping in, but that sort of felt weird. I mean, you kind of figure out that, oh, this guy's the Lord of Lies. It's probably him, but it just still wasn't impactful. Whereas this act, where it's like this vision of Asmodan that drops in on you and is like telling you you're screwed, it felt way more impactful, and it was just more satisfying. And then as you're kind of going and you're helping everyone that's there at the fort, like first protect the fort and then take the battle, and they're like, "Yeah, you're our champion," it's way more satisfying, right?
Totally. I mean, to be honest, I feel like, I mean, maybe it's a difficulty setting, maybe it's the fact that Blizzard doesn't do too much to customize or accommodate the fact that you're now moving as a party with people. But I'll tell you, it's felt a little underwhelming so far. I mean, Act 1, Act 2 definitely felt that way. Like, I'm here fighting the greatest evil in the universe, and it's kind of just me by myself. Um, I don't have too much backstory on the character, so I don't really even have the motivations on the protagonist, which is myself. And it just kind of feels like I'm a gopher, go for this, go for that. So to finally be in a place where like there's a huge battle, and like you said, we're fighting alongside soldiers. We're in a war. We're doing things that are um, making that war winnable for our side. I definitely think it really upped the sort of epicness of the game and the setting, and us feeling like we're finally part of something that's bigger, and not only that's bigger than us, but that we see an entire world around us sort of mobilizing around that issue as well. So I feel like we've finally arrived. I mean, Act 3 is a late place to be arriving at this sort of epic kind of setting, fantasy setting and everything, but I'm glad we're there because I was starting to wonder, like, are we just going to be like traveling from one end to the next, just talking to people, and then like at what stage does this get to like the high heavens or the lowest of hells? So
Listen, you got to make it to the prancing pony before you can get to Mount Doom. All right,
okay, fair point. Fair point.
No, I hear you though. Yeah, and it took a turn for the epic now. Though it was really pointing out when we were playing those giant siege ladder demon things that spit out bad guys. I believe you said that's a heck of a way to travel.
Yeah, it's the vomiting centipedes, bro. It's like,
Yeah,
like I said, I think it reminds me a lot of like the subway system. So,
gross.
you know,
Never want to
probably a
ride the
little
subway again.
cleaner, a little cleaner than the typical subway.
That's funny. Um, Yeah, so the one part that I felt was weak was when you're kind of walking through the heart of sin and all that with the spider lady and whatever. The way that she drops in and kind of is talking to you, that part was kind of cool, but what is that even there for? We're supposed to be fighting against Asmodan, and I guess he's just like, "Hey, stop them, please." And but I don't know. That part didn't really land as well for me as all the other parts of the act. What do you think?
I agree. I mean, I think if you're trying to stop people from invading the deepest parts of your stronghold, I would assume giving them a tour guide to confirm that they're going in the right direction is probably not the thing to do.
Right?
But she was kind of cool. I mean, she had a cool design,
Yeah.
and whatnot. But you don't get a real sense of like why she's there, why her in particular. Like,
Yeah.
There's not enough backstory. It's just, we're just going to throw you another cool design character for the sake of, I don't know, just some variation perhaps. But insofar as like larger, like how this serves a larger story, I'm just not getting it,
Yeah. Yeah. Completely agree. Yeah. Neat design. Kind of neat the way that, again, she like dropped in to kind of talk to you. But how did it serve the larger story? I don't know. That's a really good point. Whereas like prior to that, you're raising these catapults and trying to like have the catapults so that they can kind of fight back, and that is kind of a continuation of the narrative. Then they're like, oh, they opened a hole down below, better go fix that. Like, all right, well, we got that fixed. Let's go take the fight to them. There was really great progression through that, and then it's just like, well, we've made it through this kind of portal that they opened up from their hell. Let's go through it, and here's this like lieutenant he picked to try to stop us, but we don't really know, like you said, why her,
right?
But yeah,
which is like missed opportunities, because it's like you have a chance here to develop another layer to this world, another texture, and you're just not taking advantage of it. And it's not like it requires that much. It could be, imagine if it was like an offhand, like I don't even remember her name. That's how forgettable she was, the spider lady. But imagine if she had been deployed and said, I'll do this for you, Asmodan, but, you have to make sure to take me out for a drink or something afterwards. Something to show that maybe there's like romantic tension here, and that's probably why she's the one who was picked, or that he trusts her this much to be her like right-hand person. And to try, but it's and again, we're not asking for another cutscene. We're not asking for another whatever. It's just like 2 words in a dialogue box that could just add a little bit more to the story. That's not just, hey, this is here just because we spent $2 million modeling her and animating her and getting a voice actor, and fuck it, just throw it in there.
Yeah.
So.
And then like, what is Asmodan doing at the time that we're kind of chasing her down and whatever? That's because you kill her, and then it's kind of a short trip to go and kill Asmodan after.
Right.
So.
Right. You'd think the security would be a little higher. You know what I mean? Like maybe a few more floors of separation or something like that. I mean.
Yeah. Again,
I've seen delis with stronger security. So.
But so we kill Asmodan, and then Tyrael and Arya and Leah, they all show up and capture Asmodan in the Black Soulstone, and that's awesome. But then, betrayal.
Betrayal.
All right.
What's her name? Adria?
Adria, that's right. Yeah.
Adria completely betrays them. And And I remember saying this like as the sort of cutscene was playing out, where it's like Tyrion's like, all right, we've trapped them in the stone. Let's destroy it now. And she's like, well, hold on, we've got rituals, we've got, we got to polish it, or I don't fucking know, but we got to do something to the stone. And honestly, this is a lesson to everyone. If like all you got to do is like cast the ring into the lava or smash the stone, just do it. And if someone's there and says like, you know what, maybe we should take it, no, you should throw them into the lava maybe before you throw the ring in there, because sus.
Be like
Gimli,
I mean? Take your axe and try to smash that shit and ask questions later, because
exactly.
What if it had worked, right? It would have just been, all right, well, great.
We solved it, guys. No one's got to go anywhere. Everyone, go home. Story's over, guys. Exactly.
Yeah. But
the Lord of the Rings becomes a novelette, and we're done. At best.
Right. But yeah. So I thought that was like a cool twist, and I definitely like that, we get into Act 4 and it's set in the high heavens. I think that part is cool. But briefly, like the one part that I was like, it felt like that was not foreshadowed at all, Adria's betrayal. And that's kind of a bummer, Like again, it was like a cool twist, but like maybe some hint that was coming a little bit. I don't know. What do you think?
I agree. I mean, when these things just come out of nowhere, it feels cheap. it feels like the build-up is not going to have the emotional impact, or not the build-up, but the reveal. Because if there was build-up, the reveal would have some impact. But because there is very little to zero build-up, then when it does happen, it's just okay, that's cool. I mean, it's a little bit like the, Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader moment, right? But at the very least, you have a sense that, like, Luke doesn't know who his parents are. Maybe he's on some big-ass mission, and, so something like Darth Vader coming out and being like, hey, you're my kid, bro. Might, I guess that might be some foreshadowing, but even that would be stretching it. I felt like there was none in this third act for Adria, and yeah, I don't know. She didn't even justify like what rituals she had to do, and Tyrael should have, like, Tyrael being, how old is Tyrael, by the way?
Ancient.
Ancient.
Like,
okay.
I think he's from the beginning of creation.
Right. So all I had to do was watch The Return of the King once to know that, like, damn, bro, you gotta, like, nip it in the bud. You just gotta, like, follow through.
Yeah.
Tyrael's ancient, and he hasn't learned that lesson yet. I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah, he's also awful naive for how wise he should be, right?
Wise and powerful.
Like, yeah. I am onto you. You're sus, You're sus, Adria.
It was good to see Tyrael in fighting with us also. Like, I feel like that's taken a bit of time as well.
Yeah, that's true. I agree. Kind of. All right, there's definitely been points where we're playing and I'm like, yo, you have your sword now. Like,
exactly.
But yeah, I mean, lack of foreshadowing aside, I did think that twist was pretty cool. And then it sets up that, like, Act 4 is going to be fought in the high heavens. Now we're trying to chase down and defeat Diablo, who's now the prime evil and has the power of, like, the 7 demons inside of him.
Right.
Her.
Them. It's unclear. Which is also, like, what happened to Leah? I mean, what was the name of that, the angel that, like, blasted away Leah's body, like, burnt it to a crisp, essentially?
Invictus? Something?
Invictus, yeah. Also, you'd think he'd have, like, some backup, but okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm wondering, I mean, if Diablo took over Leah's, like, mind or internal body, and then Invictus, like, burnt her body, and all you have is Diablo, is there anything left to Leah? Like, are we gonna get her back? Because if not, if we are, I mean, I just gotta say that the stretch marks are gonna be pretty severe,
Pretty severe. The Diablo inside of her is much bigger. Yeah, true. Yeah, we'll see. But I mean, I do really like the high heavens setting of Act 4. I think it's kind of neat and, like, imaginative. And obviously, like, the other games, you're kind of going, especially like Diablo 1, you're going kind of down into hell, or you're chasing down Diablo, whatever. And even here in Act 3, going through Asmodan's realm. But now, taking the fight to the other side, that's a pretty cool touch that they did.
So is this the first time in the series that we're in the high heavens?
Yeah, as far as I recall, yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool then.
Right?
Yeah. Totally. So yeah,
so
I mean,
not bad, Blizzard. A good act, much better than Act 2.
Totally. And I think I think the number one thing is just, like, they raised the stakes. They created the settings for us to feel like we're in something bigger than ourselves.
Yep.
And they took us down to hell, and now we're in heaven. So it's a good act, the best act they've had so far, to be honest.
Well said, well stated. I think. Yeah, they've. In this act too, they made some good kind of promises. They talked about Asmodan and the fort and his army, And that promise you felt like you were progressing through that the whole time, and there's good payoff. There's some moments where the payoff could have been like a little bit better. The sort of like when we bring up the catapults, it would have been neat to kind of have it be more climactic about like the catapults firing and helping, but still, like, you know, you have good progress in helping this battle and good payoff in continuing to make it through these things and making your way to Asmodan. Yeah, this one, I think they nailed it, you know?
Totally. Yeah, I'm excited for the next one. I mean, and this is, to be honest, the first time I feel like, oh man, I can't wait to see what like the high heavens are like, what the next act is going to be like, and obviously this is also like I would assume the final act in a what I would assume is a 4-part kind of act story.
Yeah, so there's like with the expansion there's a 5th act, but we're not going to play through that. So yes, this is the 4th and final act in the base Diablo 3.
Right. So, you know, insofar as like getting people invested, like this was it. You know, this was it, I felt. I think the other 2 acts were a little slow. The second act, as we've sort of discussed, was just kind of all over the place, but I think this is kind of has righted the ship, and I think we're going to a place that's going to be exciting, and I just want to see how they wrap it all up, you know.
Yep. Well said. Yeah, well, join us for Act 4 of Diablo 3 coming at you next week. Yeah, but thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy our kind of story breakdown. And if no one's told you yet today, you're an absolute legend.